I merely turned the exit sign around.
You know what I find hilarious? Characters that try to be all scary and threatening, when in reality they're just too stupid to take seriously.
Loser!
Now when I say loser villains, it doesn't mean I dislike these guys, not at all. I find their antics really entertaining, and they make for some great characters. Now, please don't consider this a negative list. These are some awesome characters that just have a tough time trying to accomplish their evil plans. What qualifies them to be on this list is that they consistently get defeated by the protagonists, like we're talking a lot. They are definitely one of my favourite character types in all of animation as of the time of me making this video, so here they are, my top 10 loser cartoon villains. Remember though, I haven't seen every cartoon ever, these are just the 10 I've seen and like the most.
You have an evil tattoo? Look, just like mine!
Whether it was intentional or not, Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb is actually a pretty unique character, which I didn't realise until pretty recently. All he really wants is a friend, since his life is already so much of a wreck. How does he go about trying to get friends? The internet? Social groups? Close. How about trying to be an evil scientist? Most evil masterminds have a good arch-nemesis, whom they usually hate with every fibre of their being. Not Doof though. He really likes Agent Perry the Platypus, and wants him to play along with his schemes, like some kind of roleplay or something. No, not like that. He even goes out of his way to plan out how he's going to tell Perry his backstories each episode.
Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
To be fair, there is tons of times where Doofenshmirtz genuinely wanted to succeed in his evil plans, but I'm always reminded of the episode Perry Lays an Egg, where Perry deems the Doctor's plans not worthy of stopping since they weren't hurting anyone or anything. Doof responds to this by chasing Perry around and outright trying to get Perry to stop him, which does lead to one of the funniest lines in the entire show.
Thwart me, Perry the Platypus.
Heinz Doofenshmirtz is just a regular guy that's bored and lonely, and only wants a friend. But hey, check out this clip of him looking like a dingus.
See, I taught myself whale song.
Team Rocket from the Pokemon anime, huh? Are they very threatening?
A flame that lights the night, a flame that shadows the darkness. I am a flaming Moltres.
Do I even have to explain myself here?
And those buttons on your remote that don't seem to do anything? I know what they're for. From this moment on, your television belongs to me. Control freak.
Anyone would expect a show that takes place in the same universe as Batman himself to have some awesome and memorable bad guys. And if you're talking about the original Teen Titans series, then you'd be correct. It may not have as many big names as Batman, like with the Joker, the Penguin, Harley Quinn, but the Teen Titans villains were actually pretty well written. Most of them fit the zany, anime-esque style of the show, while still being pretty big threats, in their own dorky ways. I could have put someone like Billy Numerous or anyone from the High Five here, but dang, remember that guy Control Freak?
Guess what? I know Kung Fu.
Control Freak is probably what you'd imagine him to be just by looking at him.
A big nerd. Hey, why don't you try being cool like me?
Oh, we'll get to you, Simon. Yep, what makes Control Freak such a memorable character is what a huge nerd he is. Like, wow.
The Control Freak is a dork, yes?
He's that kind of loser that would spend hours trying to make a dumb YouTube video about cartoon characters. Oh. But he's also quite likeable purely for the fact that he appears to really love screwing around with the Titan. Even if he gains what seems like nothing in terms of conquering cities and whatnot, he still appears to just love what he's doing for his own crazy amusement. I mean, who wouldn't have fun messing around with all their favourite TV shows? Though, knowing the fandoms for a lot of these programs, most people would just abuse the power for, you know, kissing waifus and stuff. Episode 40 of Teen Titans is by far my favourite Control Freak episode. I just love how he understands these TV shows so much that he can manipulate them specifically to mess with the protagonists. That is until Beast Boy out-nerds him in a Star Wars parody scene.
You don't need to see our identification.
It's actually pretty impressive what a guy like this can do without any superpowers, which is definitely an ongoing theme throughout this animated universe. Which does kind of make me question why he's on this list in the first place. Oh well.
But this is my world. I'm cool here.
And if he is awakened, he will rise from the murky depths and destroy this world.
Grim, your eyes are still on fire.
So, here's an interesting concept for a primarily kids show. Get the Grim Reaper, you know, Death himself, and make him enslaved by 2 young kids. Of course, Cartoon Network of all networks would approve of this idea. Grim from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy is not what you'd expect. He's a complete pushover.
Help me, Billy! Help me! Quick! Give me something to put my eyes out with.
Now, to be fair, he is forced to live with a stupid young boy and an angry young girl for the rest of eternity, so I guess he sort of has to make the most of it. What's strange about the concept of Grim is that in a ton of episodes, he's the voice of reason among all the crazy characters of this world. The Grim Reaper is the everyman of this show, often trying to make sense of what's going on around him. Like, wow, who would have guessed that at first glance?
Give me something else! Quick!
Now, I can't really talk about Grim without mentioning his voice. Giving him a Jamaican accent was a really strange choice, but heck, I can't imagine the guy without it now. Well, I also picture Aku Aku from Crash of the Titans.
Strange things are afoot.
Greg Earls, Grim and Aku Aku's voice actor, really brings the character to life, somehow. I'd also like to give a shout out to Golan from Golan the Insatiable in this placement. I couldn't quite fit him on this list, but he's a very similar concept to Grim, so you can consider this placement as shared between those two.
Here, Grim, try this!
It burns!
Cheer up, Plankton. I think you're a winner.
What? What did you say?
I said you're a loser!
When it comes down to how villainous a bad guy is, a lot of the placements on this list really don't fit the bill. They're either too distracted, too goofy, or just don't plan stuff all the way through. Which would make you wonder how the main bad guy from SpongeBob SquarePants, SheldonPlankton, would count as a loser villain. He plans things through, he's usually pretty focused, and he does come up with some pretty evil plans, but there's one minor detail that keeps him from reaching his maniacal goals.
I am small.
Though his exact size seems to differ from episode to episode, the funny thing about Plankton is just how much aggression and evil spirit can be packed into one tiny little creature.
Someone ought to put you in a mental hospital.
Someone should put you in a box floating down the river, Grandma!
It's kinda like when a hamster tries to bite you. I mean, they're trying to hurt you and all, but it's just too cute and funny to watch. Character-wise, Plankton is a very assertive, aggressive, loud and demanding person, which I suppose you would have to be to get what you want at that size. He has all the qualities of a classic cartoon villain, always monologuing in a deep voice and talking to the camera about his elaborate plans.
The customer? I'll boil the customer in hot oil and I'll rip out his...
Most of his best moments come from his interactions with all the other main characters. Everyone around him, especially SpongeBob and Patrick, are so stupid. No wonder he gets angry all the time.
What? What's the matter with you? All I said was a little too much sauce. It's no big deal, really.
All Plankton really wants is to have a restaurant as good as his old friend Mr. Krabs. Oh, and just take over the world, but yeah.
That voice! No! It can't be! Zim!
I haven't seen very much of Nickelodeon's Invader Zim, only the first few episodes in fact. But even I can't deny that Zim should definitely be mentioned on this list. He's honestly one of the best examples of a loser villain from what I've seen. Zim is a joke on his home planet and really wants to impress his superiors by taking over a whole planet. Zim is sent to Earth undercover and tries to conquer it by himself. Well, him and his robot companion, Gur.
Grr? What does the G stand for? I don't know.
He tries really hard to be a good invader, but he just kind of isn't very good at it. In fact, he's so bad at his job, it's amazing no one else notices he's an alien apart from some kid at the local school. Zim's very dramatic about every little thing and seems a tad insane sometimes.
But sir, we're still on our own planet!
This is really well portrayed by his voice actor, though I can't help but hear Billy from Grim Adventures all the time. Zim kinda reminds me of those kids that try way too hard to be super edgy and dark. Doesn't really work out well for the poor guy.
Prove that I'm crazy. Okay, now that makes sense.
And tire you to the point of exhaustion. Tire you to the point of exhaustion!
Now, you may be a bit skeptical to watch the new Sonic cartoon, Sonic Boom, for how glitchy and poorly received the video game is. But I really do think people should give it more of a fair chance. It's an underrated series that has some hilarious new takes on the main Sonic cast. One of the characters everyone will remember is Sonic's arch-nemesis Dr. Eggman, and dang, he's one of my favourite characters on this show. Eggman is always getting his butt kicked, and that's ultimately what got him on this list. But I think his strongest point is how much of a freaking jerk he is.
And this salmon is farm-raised! What is this, prison?
Dang, this guy has absolutely no regard for anyone else around him, and doesn't think twice about manipulating them into getting his way. even his two robot henchmen, Orbot and Cubot, who are often the subject to most of his abuse. I just find it so funny to see Sonic and his friends trying to do their own thing, and Eggman just always has to butt in, mainly to be obnoxious beyond belief.
Are you eating your feelings?
Somebody get her away from me!
Hands down my favourite episode of Sonic Boom is the second one, where Eggman pretends his fortress is destroyed, leading Sonic to feel sorry for him and let him stay at his place. What follows is old Baldy McNosehair annoying Sonic and Tails all day, every day, and it's so darn funny. I find Eggman's new hyperactive jerk personality a great contrast to Sonic's new chill and constantly done with everything attitude. Like, Sonic ain't having any of that. Dr. Eggman is kind of like an overly offensive grandparent. What they're saying is completely horrible and wrong, but you can't hate them, you just gotta be all like, "Oh, Grandpa." Probably could have explained that one a bit better, but hey.
I'd reduce you all to a smoldering pile of ash.
Oh my gosh, you're so cute!
I remember binge watching through the entire Steven Universe Season 1 after it initially finished. One of the first big moments of the show for me was meeting Lapis Lazuli for the first time, the first non-corrupted gem other than the ones we were all used to. Lapis left me wanting more. I wanted to know what other gems were out there, and if we'd ever see a modern Homeworld gem. Well, we get the episode Warp Tour, and this is where we meet the fan favourite character Peridot for the very first time.
Why did the chicken cross the road? The chicken wanted to get to the other side of the road.
Initially introduced as a serious threat to the Crystal Gems, one thing led to another and Peridot just got less and less threatening and more of a comic relief type of character. After crash landing on Earth after her first defeat, Peridot goes from intimidating to some crazy angry kid trying to make her way home. Through the first half of Season 2, she's only barely escaping being captured by Steven and the gang most of the time, until they finally trap her in Steven's bathroom. Finally forming a truce, they all agree to work together to stop a common enemy. While it's pretty easy to see what this eventually leads to, it's still a really well done gradual breakdown and building up of her character.
I think you're all insane, but I guess I am too. Anybody would be if they were stuck on Earth with you.
She really did try to get Homeworld and the Crystal Gems to see each other's side of things in the end, coming to an awesome conclusion.
What do you know about the Earth?
Apparently more than you Claude!
Peridot getting accustomed to Earth is both funny and interesting. Her whole world is being shaken up and she responds by acting like a hyperactive and easily startled dork. Not to put him down, but it's kind of like what I said with Eggman being an overly offensive grandparent. Peridot's kind of like that too, but she's willing to learn and better herself as a person, no matter how painful that may be. Also, I got a Peridot keychain as a gift a little while ago, so bonus points.
Do you have any last words? I love you, Peridot.
This isn't a skunk. Some kind of hissing novelty candle for a giant birthday cake.
Clone High is a show that loves to make fun of cheesy high school dramas every opportunity it gets. Like how it made episodes about drugs, love triangles, and proms. Episode types you can usually guarantee to be in any epic teen drama. It doesn't stop there though, they also make fun of high school character tropes too, but with historical figures, like JFK being a jock, Cleopatra being a token popular girl, and Joan of Arc being gothic. I particularly like how they added the principal being evil trope with the evil scientist trope. They work super well together and they make Principal Scudworth, the principal of Clone High, a really awesome character.
So, religions for fools, eh? Fools and liberals?
Think the teacher from Fairly Odd Parents' insane personality put into a more adult cartoon. To me, that's definitely a recipe for success. He's very reclusive and always plotting behind everyone's back, but is more than often getting distracted by dumb stuff like redecorating his house and getting revenge on a skunk in a Looney Tunes parody.
Free bacon for Scudworth? Why, I'm a Scudworth!
The mere appearance of Scudworth makes me laugh. It's just so awkward. Just look at the size of his legs in comparison to the rest of him. The delivery of his lines alone is enough to make him possibly the funniest villain on this list for me.
I'd like you to meet Mr. Butlertron. My butler. No, my friend.
Like the rest of the show, he's so stupid, yet so likable, along with all the other characters. It's something I find really great about the show in general. Clone High knows that it's stupid, and it embraces it.
Oh, Mr. B, you've done it again!
On screen now are some honourable mentions. I couldn't fit everyone in, but please let me know some of your favourites in the comments below.
Dun, da, 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 dun, dun. Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got!
The Ice King from Adventure Time truly is the biggest loser villain of them all, which makes him the best. At the beginning of the show, Ice King was nothing more than a loony old man with an obsession with girls. While he still mostly is that, now there's more to it. Ice King follows and represents his show really well by being unpredictable and just a funny guy.
Someone got hit in the boing lines. Hit in the boing lines. Boing lines. Boing lines.
He acts like a kid pretending to be a baddie, in a similar way that Doofenshmirtz does, but instead of conquering cities or whatever Doof gets up to, he's trying to capture princesses and trying to get them to marry him. Ice King's obsession with women hits just the right mark in not being too creepy, and just being funny enough. It's all done in a very comical, cartoony way that never comes across frightening or too much.
Get out of here, bubble butt.
Everything I loved about all the other villains on this list is shown by this lovable old goofball. Very awkward and a bit of a jerk sometimes, but is willing to better himself. After a big reveal for his character, Finn, Jake and the other good guys start to feel bad for him, and now he's treated as the awkward friend of the group, which is kind of nice, since company and friendship are what the Ice King really wanted the most.
How about me? Put me on the grid, scale of 1 to 10.
Well, that and the princess's lips. What's really interesting about the Ice King is that he's not all he appears to be when you first see him. Behind the crazy old man exterior is just a regular caring guy cursed to wear a crown that makes him insane and live forever. If you want to know more about this if you don't already, watch the Season 3 2-part special, Holly Jolly Secrets. They're great episodes on their own, but they really expand on what everyone thought of the Ice King. The real draw to the Ice King for me is the fact that he's a character that can be enjoyed by everyone. There's a wacky and comical side to him for all of those that just wanted to see a light-hearted fun character, and there's a deep lore and character development for those that like more complex characters. As I said before, this really reflects what Adventure Time is all about. It's a show that tries its best to be enjoyed by everyone, and no character shows this fact off better than the Ice King.
We won't have change.